Make sure to be a member on the channel, link is in the description. Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Let's thank our members Astropub, Patrick, Silami, Vivi, and Lafush. Thank you for being members, it helps a lot. Make sure to subscribe, join our Discord, and be a member if you want to help the channel, it helps a lot. So let's get into it. So today, in the same manner that we did a few months ago, actually, I think, we did a video on how to use TV guided bombs. Today we are going to do a video on how to use guided missiles in general. We are going to talk about every single type of missile that exists. We are talking about aircraft missiles, in airplane missiles, not a helicopter. So we are going to talk about all the missiles that are air to ground in aircraft, okay? So there is basically four types of missiles in game for air to ground with aircraft, with jets and stuff like that. We have the MCLOS, which are the manual cyclone missiles, the beam riders, the lasers, and the TV guided. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the manual modes. So the manual missiles. So the cyclones are the MCLOS, which is the manual cyclones, I think it's called, I don't know. It is basically a way to guide a missile using basically radio waves, with a control inside the aircraft with a tiny little, um, maybe it's a joystick or something inside the aircraft that actually controls the missile. In game, that is translated to using basically a key that you can use, to control the missile. So AWSD, for example, or the key, the arrow keys or something like that. And obviously we have the controls here that we can see. I'm going to change mine together with you guys. So let's just not assign it. So yeah, we need to go for yaw axis for aimed weapons and pitch axis for weapons and aiming, but it's basically the same. So yaw would be basically the left and right. So I'm going to use maybe let's try head movement. Yeah, replace. And that replace it. Okay. And pitch axis. I think this is maximum value. No, sorry. So you have to replace it so that we don't see other stuff happening. I think this is it. So you will need some buttons to left and right and to up and down, and then you will control the missile with that. Okay, so let's get into a test flight here. And we have many missiles that use this system. So we have the AGM-12B, the AGM-12C, the bullpups, the KH-23M, the AS-20, the AS-30, and the RB-05A. So a ton of missiles use this system, and it's kind of old and not very effective, but still. So we are here, and let's try to just get used to it. And yeah. So I'm using the keys, as you see, to actually, oh, it's inverted. Oh, so it's really hard to actually control sometimes. Yeah, but you can control it, as you see, and it's very effective if you know what you are doing. Another way to use it, so it's just to fire the missile like a non-guided missile, because it will actually just try to guide itself directly to the target. But I don't know, it's just, you can just do that and, don't control the missile. I did a little bit of control there, but you can do that to actually hit targets. The problem with this is actually that you get to get really close to the target, and that being really susceptible to getting shot by AA systems. So yeah, but basically this is it. You have to configure the buttons there. I'm using the numpad, as you saw, and then you just click on the fire the missile, and then you control it, as you see. I'm controlling a little bit, and sometimes it's hard to actually hit it, and sometimes it's actually hard to just know where the missile is going because of the the ton of smoke that it's there. So basically this is it. So yeah, it's kind of hard to use, as you see. But it is kind of effective if you have the time to actually aim it properly. And yeah, the range is not the greatest because you have to see the target properly, you know, from the outside or from the inside when you're flying simulator. So it's not the greatest thing ever. But after that, we have the Beam Riders. And the Beam Riders, we only have technically one missile. We have an air-to-air missile in the Swift F7. But the other Beam Rider is, we're talking about air-to-ground weapons. So we have the MiG-21 PFM with its KH-66, which is basically the same missile as the KH-23M, but the type of radiation that it receives, it's different. So instead of using a radio command to actually guide the missile, it actually uses the radar radiation to actually guide the missile, which is translated to actually guiding with the mouse. So it's a little bit better in some situations, and let's test it out a little bit. So basically there's no way to lock it. In real life you could lock the beam to a place with the radar, but yeah, basically it is radar guided, but whatever the point of the nose is. So as you're going to see, we just need to point. You don't have any like keys that you have to have. You just need to point to the target and click the fire missile button, and it will guide whatever you are aiming at. So it is sometimes hard because of the amount of the smoke that is there, but as you see, it's guided by the mouse. You know, you change the direction and the missile changes the direction that is going. So it is very easy to use and very effective sometimes, but you have to be careful with the diving situations. So my tactic here is always to fly high and open your air brake, turn off your engine as you see, and then you dive down to the target. And it is difficult to see a target. I mean, if it is ground battles, how can you tell that it's a tank there, you see? So yeah, it's problematic sometimes, but you just have to maintain it, and sometimes it misses anyway because it's not that precise, you know. But yeah, it's going a little bit upwards. Yeah, good kill. And then let's try to kill that one, but it's guiding itself because of the radar. Yeah, I missed. But yeah, so the only aircraft that has this is the MiG-21 PFM, which is kind of odd, but still, it is a very fun little missile that you can use, especially in squadron battles and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, not that effective yet, but yeah, the problem is the sighting system, because you are so far away from the target in your camera. It's really hard to identify what is an enemy, what is a friendly, and stuff like that. The next type of missiles that we can see is the laser guided ones. These are a little bit more precise than other missiles, and we have a couple of ones. I mean, as you're going to see, these are the more modern ones, obviously, and depending on the country that you use, they use a type of missile, you know. So for the Russians, a lot of their aircraft use laser guided stuff, and the Americans, a lot of them use the Mavericks or the TV guided stuff. So it depends on doctrine and stuff like that, but still, the laser guided stuff is obviously the KH-25s, the KH-25s MLs, which are a little bit better, the KH-29Ls, the S-25Ls, and the AS-30Ls. So 4 Russian missiles and 1 French missile, and we're going to talk about all of them. And if you are asking what's the difference between the KH-25 and the KH-25ML, is that the KH-25ML is a little bit better, it has a little bit more energy. In general, it will accelerate a little bit slower at first, but it will burn for a longer time, being a little bit better there. There is a bug, kind of, that the Su-17M2 has the same type of guidance with that missile as a KH-66, but then all the other ones use the new system that I'm going to show to you guys. So basically, there is many systems that you can use in here to guide the missile, and we're going to talk about 3 of them. I mean, there's many systems, but yeah, the Su-17M2 would be the same as the PFM. So because these aircraft didn't have a proper, stronger enough laser designator there on the nose, because he only had a laser rangefinder, these needed a pod down there. So as you see, the pod down there to actually designate targets with the laser. And as you're going to see, this is the KH-25, the normal one. It is a different type of guidance. So, come on. So as you see, it guides itself like the KH-26. As you see, if I shoot the missile, I mean, it's kind of weird, but it's not exactly the same. But as you saw, the laser right there, you can turn it off and on with a button if you want to. But the system, if you put it, click the button to fire the missile, you already will try to turn on the laser designator, as you see. But this is the little thing to use this. The circle there is to be used like this. So yeah, it's kind of problematic, as you saw. It's guiding itself. Kind of hard to use still. So basically the same way, but it is laser guided. So you don't have a way to actually lock the target, down there. I don't know if it's a bug or anything like that, but yeah. This is one of the ways that you can guide a missile, a laser guided missile. So here we have 4 different types of missiles that the Russians have, to show a little bit. So the KH-25ML, the KH-29L, and the S-25L. So they are all laser guided, and they have a little bit of a different system. So now you are guiding by the HUD, but with this camera. So you don't have a lot of zoom, and the zoom is inverted here for some reason. But so this becomes a little bit harder to actually use sometimes. But as you're going to see, it is pretty effective. It's a little bit better than the other ones because you can actually lock stuff. So as you're going to see, let's try to, yeah, it's locking on the ground. As you see, you can fire the missile, and you just continue there, and it has a certain amount of gimbal that you have to do, that you have a limit on. And that way you can just lock a target, and as you see, the limit is kind of unrealistic because it is on the nose there. How is on earth is it doing that? But still, as you saw, it has kind of a gimbal limit, but it is working properly, So let's try to use the KH-29L, which is the longer version of it's the best missile that the Russians have, basically, for air-to-ground. But the way it works, it is the same. You can actually lock them with the external, thing there, but it doesn't work properly. So let's turn on the launch is authorized. Missile is launched. So yeah, the difficulty is that it is very sensitive to actually turning, but it is a little bit more effective. You don't have a lot of zoom, so it is not like a TV guided thing that have a lot of zoom and stuff like that. But anyway, it's a very effective, a more effective way to use missiles, and you can fire them from far away if you can see the target, which can be a problem sometimes, especially in air-to-ground RB, But as you're going to see, let's try again one more time with the KH-25ML to fire all of them. And you can even lock them by the third person here. As you see, I'm using space because I have a configured to that. And you can just, launch the missile, and then you can kind of just do this. And yeah, almost got him, but yeah, it's a more effective way and a little bit more of a safer way actually to use it. The buttons that you need are only the normal buttons to fire the missile, but you can configure a button to turn on the laser designator, as you see here. Where is it? You can use lock guided bombs, or I mean guided. No, it's not guided bombs. Where is it? I use. I think this is it, right? I don't know, but I use the space to actually site stabilization here. You can use that to actually just designate a point, you know. And yeah, it's very effective. And yeah, you can also use the. Let's see if I find it. Toggle laser designator here to turn on the laser designator, and that will toggle this as well. And then you fire the missile with the fire secondary weapon. So yeah, it is pretty effective. As you see, it is locked. I have a button to cancel that so that we can lock again. And as you see, I can lock the general direction and just make sure that it's there. And then I just pass, and it will guide itself directly to the target, you know. It doesn't have a proper lock like a TV guided missile, but still it is more effective than the other ones. And the other way that you can guide it, there are a couple of aircraft that have that. It is with a camera. So on the top of the nose there, on the MiG-27, for example, we have the, I think it's called the Carina system, which is a TV system that actually can make you guide a little bit better of the target. So, for example, let's change the camera. You go for this, and it has a lot of zoom, so it's even hard. Jesus. It's even hard to find the target. You can lock it there, as you see, and you just will fire the missile, you know. Let me help the missile a little bit. And then he has a gimbal, and yeah, it will go directly to the target. Of course, if you lose the target, if you lose the direction there, for example, let's fire the missile. It does loft the KH-29. If I lose the lock, the missile will go ballistic, and it will just go for some direction, okay? Normally, if he already corrected the target flight path, it can hit a target still, but it is one of those problems. The advantage of this is actually to have this camera and to actually have the zoom. So I'm going to test it a little bit on the Jaguar, for example, as well, but let me just test again with the KH-25ML here. But as you see, the zoom is pretty good, and yeah, you can just lock it, turn on the laser designator, fire the missile, and you just fly on a general path of the direction of the target. See, I lost the target there, and the missile self-destruct. So yeah, you have to be careful because you have to try to not use the target, and that's why it's just a little bit less effective than, for example, um, a missile like a Maverick, for example. You know, yeah, direct hit. So let's test it out with another aircraft. So yeah, we have another example here. So the pod down there, as you see, it has even night vision, as you see. The British one has the thermals, but we don't have any guided missiles there. But the principle is the same, as you see here. We can just lock it up with that. You have a lot of zoom, as you see. You just click to fire the missile. Oh, I don't have the missile selected. But yeah, missile away, and you can just turn away, try to maintain it right there until the target is hit. Obviously it has a gimbal limit, as you saw on the other ones. So for example here, you have a gimbal limit, as you see in the camera down there. It can go a long way here, so it is very fun. The Jaguar has one of the best cameras there, but yeah, the British one has even better ones, but we don't have any guided missiles there, unfortunately, only guided bombs. But yeah, I like to do this, just point the nose, very easy to find a target, then it's locked almost to the target. You can just turn on the laser tracking, and then you can go right there, and even you can try to get a proper lock on the target, as you see there. And as you see, you can pass over the target and just the designator will continue. So it is very effective, very good, and yeah, it has a very long range, as you're going to see here. For example, you can even, I mean, look at the zoom that it has. So yeah, it's very effective. It has a maximum amount of range of 12 kilometers with the missile, so you can fire the missiles and just, you know, maintain it at distance. Let's try that out. Missile launched, and then we can turn away from the target, as you see. I would advise you guys to just maintain the general direction of the target, but still you can do a lot of things. I mean, here I can still maintain the target locked and maintain it from a safe distance and a safe path for me to actually just evade the missiles if I want to, you know. So I can go cold in here a little bit and stuff like that. So yeah. So this is it for the laser guided stuff. A lot of missiles and a lot of fun. And then we have the TV guided missiles. We have two ways of guiding them as well. But the way to get the tracking, but they work in the same system as always. But there's a different catch here. They have an infrared sensor that makes it so that it can actually detect a target or not, depending on where it is and what it's doing. So basically what that means is it can detect a target from a general image, you know, so we can lock to an image. So we have the A10 here, for example, and then we have the camera there. These cameras, when it has this type of system, this little square there, and you know the lines, the white lines, it's because it's using the guided system of the missile. So it is using the head of the missile to actually provide you with an image. So this is the D variant of the Maverick, but all Mavericks does this. Obviously we have thermals because of the Maverick D here, but you will just point to the target and then you will just shoot the missile. So point the general direction of the target there, and we will lock the target, and then you just fire the missile. You just click a button to actually try to hit a target. You can even try to hit it like this. Yeah, too close, but you can use the third person to actually you know, use the system as well. So as you see, when you click to shoot the missile, a little square pop up down there, and if you lock to something, it will actually design a little arrow, not a arrow, like a cross in the middle there. So as you're going to see, I'm going to try to lock it with the third person. You just keep clicking and put the target on the nose, and when it has the target, it will be fired. And forget, you know, fire and forget is always the thing in this missile, and it will be fired when it gets that, as you see here. Just keep clicking. Once he gets the lock, it will be fired automatically, and it will go for the target automatically. You don't have to maintain the lock. You can turn away, look at the other direction, and the missile will hit the target. Okay, so these are the advantages of TV guided missiles. It's just point and click and forget, you know. They have some problems with smoke systems and stuff like that, and yeah, they're not the perfect, but they are very effective. So we have the AGM-65s and we have the KH-29s. So we have the AGM-65A, B, and D, the Robot 75, which is an AGM-65A, and the KH-29T. The KH-29T is the same missile as the other KH-29L, but with a TV guided thing. And the AGM-65s are different in certain areas. So the AGM-65A, it's the normal one with normal zoom. The B variant has a lot more zoom, but it's fixed. And the D variant has less zoom than the B, but it has a thermal sensor as well, which helps a lot. with detecting some targets. So as you're going to see here, we have the B variant now on the FR, and you can also do the third person thing. You just keep clicking, and once you get the target there, it will be launched. You can also see the zoom that I have. Locked, fire the missile, and then locked, fire the missile as well. I don't know, the first one, yeah, first one hit, second one, third one. So pretty fun, pretty effective, and one of the best missiles in top tier to actually get people, because I mean it has a limited range, obviously, but it is just a missile that you can fire from far away and just forget. So, for example, I'm going to shoot it on that boat. You can choose the boat, fire the missile, and then just turn away, as you see. And the missile is going for the target. As you see, it's guiding itself and direct hit. And another way to guide TV guided missiles obviously is using the TV systems that we have. For example, we have the Carina system here in the MiG-27, and you have two cameras. Once you click the button to change the camera, you have the normal Carina system, and then you go for that vision of the missile head, you know. So, but because of this, you have a way more zoom. Even though the KH-29 has a lot of zoom as well, but an aircraft like the Su-17M4, for example, that doesn't have any type of TV system properly, it will still use the feed from the missile itself. But an aircraft like this can use the feed from the camera. So as you see, I normally do this, just lock in the general direction of the target. You just click on the lock, click to fire the missile, tracking, as you see TR2 there, and then you fire the missile. And being a fire and forget weapon, you can just turn away and not care about the missile. It will only lose the lock if the target actually smokes it, or if something gets in the middle of the target. Something that it's very fun with the KH-29T, I don't know if the other missiles can do that, is first of all that it actually lofts, so yeah, it's a very, very effective weapon from long ranges, 12 kilometers, something like that. As you saw, it acquired the target after I launched the missile. So it's a thing that I don't know if the Mavericks actually do. I'm going to test a little bit out as well. But it's something I think he does, you know. I think all the missiles does that. But yeah, this is a thing that is very good and can be very bad as well in TV guided missiles, is that you can actually you know, fire a missile in the general direction of a target if you can get a lock, and if you acquire something moving past on the head of it, it will acquire that target. So yeah, that can be a friendly, that can be an enemy, that can be anything that it's on its path. So it can be problematic, you know, can be problematic, but it's still very effective. So let's just test it out once more in the KH-29, and then we are going to wrap it up the video. So yeah, 14 kilometers as you see. Let's put the general direction of the camera there. Lock the target. Fire 2 missiles, and then we turn away. More than 10 kilometers fire shots, you know, they loft a little bit as you saw. And then they're going for the targets. So pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed. Very easy to use and very effective missiles. The TV guided ones are the best ones to use in my opinion. Even though they had its problems, they are the best ones. So I hope you enjoyed, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.